Did Marjorie Taylor Greene contact you?
No, she didn't contact me about it. I heard that she had asked White House Counsel's Office for a pardon from Mr. Philbin, but I didn't frequently communicate with Ms. Greene.
One of the many stunning moments from this week's explosive January 6th hearings was finding out which House Republicans sought presidential pardons. The list included not only Marjorie Taylor Greene and her close friend Matt Gaetz, but 4 other Trump allies as well.
Mr. Gaetz was personally pushing for a pardon, and he was doing so since early December. I'm not sure why. Mr. Biggs did. Mr. Gomer asked for one as well. And Mr. Harry asked for a pardon too. I'm sorry.
Now, folks, there's generally one reason to ask for a pardon: when you know you've committed a crime. And the American people deserve to know why these Republicans thought they needed a get-out-of-jail-free card. All 6 have denied any wrongdoing, of course. So far, Representative Greene, Gohmert, Biggs, and Perry have denied seeking pardons. Matt Gaetz has not denied it, and Mo Brooks has made no comment, although he has offered to be deposed by the committee. The other big allegation this week, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson attempted to hand-deliver fake elector documents to Vice President Mike Pence immediately before the final vote tally was set to begin.
A staffer for Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson texted a staffer for Vice President Pence just minutes before the beginning of the joint session. This staffer stated that Senator Johnson wished to hand-deliver to the vice president the fake electors' votes from Michigan and Wisconsin. The vice president's aide unambiguously instructed them not to deliver the fake votes to the vice president.
I'm joined now by Pennsylvania Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon, member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congresswoman, welcome. Thank you so much. Before we get into the specifics of those revelations, I'm just curious, what's the vibe in the House on the other side of the aisle among your colleagues there, given all of these revelations? The hearings now, are pushing into July, and the committee members continually being reminded that this is an ongoing investigation, which in my mind suggests expanding the investigation. So do you see any kind of like nervous Nellies among the GOP members right now? Or are they just, whatever?
They certainly haven't been confessing, if that's what you're asking, although asking for pardons is pretty close to a confession. We hear from the January 6th committee that they're getting more evidence. They've taken a pause in the hearings to digest some more of the evidence that they've received just in the last week or so. Certainly the members of the committee look very confident, and they keep suggesting that there's more evidence to come, that we're far from out of bombshells here. It's kind of hard to read the mood on the other side of the aisle now. Some people who've been quite noisy in the past seem a little bit quieter. I keep harking back to the fact that in the immediate aftermath of the before the insurrection, and we asked the Capitol Police to investigate because there were not supposed to be any tours at that time. And in order to get people in there to have a tour, they had to be admitted by a member or the member's staff. So we clearly saw tours. When we asked for that investigation, folks on the other side of the aisle denied that there had been any tours, and they filed an ethics complaint against us. So they were very noisy. Well, of course, just last week, we found out that, yes, there were tours. And in fact, there's videotape of those tours. And so there's been this backtracking. So, we are hearing some people be less noisy than before. But I think there's a lot more to come.
So in light of what you just said about not just the members, being a little more quiet, but also the report that you put in about the tours and the concern that you and other members had about that, how do you assess the revelation of the names of those 6 GOP members who sought pardons? And how significant is it that Mo Brooks has offered to sit in front of the January 6th committee? Could that spell more intrigue or trouble for Donald Trump?
Well, certainly Mr. Trump didn't demonstrate any loyalty to Mr. Brooks and endorsed his opponent. And of course, Mr. Brooks is now out of the race. So, he certainly has less incentive to be loyal to the former president, despite the personal cost at this point. But I think the big thing that we learned this week, or that really got highlighted, was when the former president asked members of the Department of Justice, leadership of the Department of Justice, to tell states that there had been fraudulent results in their elections and that therefore they should re-examine them and perhaps change their electors. And those Department of Justice officials said no. Trump then told them, look, just say it was corrupt and the Republican congressman will do the rest. I mean, that's a pretty strong line from that to the request for pardons.
It is, and it's going to be interesting, in addition to what we've learned, that the committee and the Justice Department are seeking those 170 hours of footage from those pair of Danish documentary filmmakers who were inside Trump orbit following Trump confidant Roger Stone on January 6th. That's on top of the other footage that the committee has obtained from different filmmakers. So all of this is now showing itself and being revealed. Is this the tip of a very large iceberg here? You think that this is going to further extend beyond maybe July, the hearings that the committee is pursuing right now?
You know, I don't know. It's probably the most compelling miniseries I've ever watched. I think the problem that the committee is struggling with is the vast quantities of information. There were thousands and thousands of hours of footage just from the folks who invaded the Capitol and from the surveillance cameras that are part of the security there. Now there's more. So the good news is that we're getting a fuller picture of exactly what happened and who was involved. But it does take some time to go through.
Before we go, Congressman Scanlon, I wanted to get your response to the Roe ruling, both as a member of Congress and as a member of the House Judiciary Committee.
Well, it's obviously very disturbing. You know, I'm a female. I have a daughter. To know that she's going to have less rights than I've had for the last 50 years, that's pretty daunting. And the implications of this decision for other privacy rights that are really fundamental to our American experience, I have to say that I think the decision was wrongly decided. But that's not something that we can address with the court, because the Trump Supreme Court is the highest court in the land at this point. So we've got work to do on the electoral front.
Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Coming up, Congress passed a major new gun law, and the Supreme Court apparently didn't get the memo.